Okay, yeah, I've moved into the shit show. Someday. Someday I'll get it all done. Anywho, so I've seen it a couple of times, and it kind of, the first one kind of hit home because it came from a friend. There's two videos uploaded right now. One of them I go off. The other one I'm kind of rational about it because she had a vital point, but it's got nothing to do with the Trump trying to divide us. Okay, everybody, like the one post that my sister had put up. You need to treat people with decency and respect. Yeah, you do. I stood in line one day. I had a personal experience. I got a ton of them. This dude, he looked absolutely ridiculous. And I had even mentioned to my nefarious ex, I had encountered this individual. And as badly as I wanted to be like, I feel so sorry for you. You were such a confused little man. But anyway, there he is. Facial hair. Short, tiny, like what girls would wear. Right? And he's all effeminate, doing, everybody knows that nuance, right? And he's got acrylic nails. They look better than mine. Okay? And he's standing there, and he's just a gabbing, oh, and my husband, and blah, 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 right? And and he was very nice, and yeah. Yeah, he looked ridiculous, but you know what? He's still a human being, and he's still got feelings, and I'm not going to ostracize him. While me, being emasculated, standing there with my little, like, yellow vest or my construction gear and my, rubber boots for my job, amongst a shit ton of other construction people waiting in line at a convenience store, getting our morning goodies on our way to work. Standing there with this strange little man, dressed up half like a woman with facial hair. Bless his heart. Okay? No one said nothing to him. Nobody fucking cared. To each his own. There's something going on up here. He's probably gay, and that's fine. You be gay. Nobody cares about if you're gay or straight or bi, nobody cares. Nobody cares. But what got me on the tangent on the last one was the fact that, my sister had mentioned something in regards to race. And it was basically, just because DEI is no longer, legal kind of thing, it does not mean that you have to, just get rid of all your friends and things like that, and I don't know what happened to her to have her post this. Pretty sure something happened, and she's now fucking triggered, right? Because we all go on these tangents like I do. Here I am. Hello. Anywho, so, but for her to switch gears and start placing all the blame on Trump for disintegrating the legality of the whole sociological experiment is what I call it. That pisses me off, because this fucking thing should have never existed in the first place. That's honest to God truth. How long has Boy George been around? He's wearing makeup God since fucking 80s. I can go on and on and on about all of these different characters in the celebrity realm where they have done enough in their own weirdness and right to influence the world in the acceptance of this. What had occurred amongst society, and it's I think the majority of the influence of President Trump's decision was predominantly because of the military. And here's why. There are a good many, and I'm pretty sure there's a majority, that we had a lot of women who were very emasculated in the military, but they still identified as women, and they still did the PT test under the woman's standards, female standards. Yeah, I got fucking eyelash issues. I woke up and yeah, here we are, rubbing my eyes because I took a nap. Anyway, and then what we have, majority of the most ridiculous looking situation, is the fact that I have seen pictures online of obvious men trying to play a role of a woman. Now, why would a man be in the military and want to identify as a woman and be categorized into the female? Well, when I was in, they probably had more reasons than not, because the standards of the PT test for females are a hell of a lot easier for a male to achieve than a female, for that matter. And my only presumption, and I'm insinuating, but I'm pretty sure I've got this down. I think my assumption is correct. The reason why these little nitwits decided to play that DEI fucking category game is so they could pass the fucking PT test. Now, they had a new PT test come out in the military, and I don't know what the standards are. It had changed over after I got out, and I never really picked my ex's brain to find out exactly what it all entailed, kind of thing. However, if your promotion is based upon you passing that damn PT test, and you can't get promoted because you're not athletic enough, or you're part of the fat boy club, which is what they like to call people who can't, they're overweight so badly that they get put in a program kind of thing, and they can't pass their PT test. Here's one of the things that they had to adjust while I was actively serving, was the sit-up. And here's why. Because it is biologically known that women can and do and are capable of being able to perform the sit-up better and more than a male 9 times out of 10. Because we have an ass. We have hip flexors that are stronger than a man's in that regard. However, our capabilities of running are not so much genetic in physique as they are anatomic. So women have a smaller lung capacity. Therefore, we have a more difficult time maintaining our wind capacity and breathing when running. Women, more so than not, are really good sprinters, whereas men are really good long distancers. On average, you have the select few. There's some women who are really good long distancers. There's some men who are really good sprinters. And it's based on physique with that regard. However, for a 2-mile test, one, males are typically taller, their strides are longer. Women are shorter, strides are different. I knew a few females that could do a 2 mile in 14 minutes. They would pass the male standards. I used to work out with one. She would pass the PT test at male standards. Every time. And it would max out her score on the female category. But there are men out there who cannot pass the male standards, even at the minimum requirement. This is where the military got involved with this DEI, and they started letting these males classify as females. And majority, hey, here we go. We're gonna braid this into the health arena here for a minute. There's only 1% of the country that is physically qualified to serve in the military. Now, I am currently 52 years old, right? And I have a broken ACL right now, and I have to get surgery. However, even having been out of the military for 10 years, I could, right now, pass a Army PT test of push-ups, sit-ups, and run right now with no training. Yeah, for my age group. It may not be the best score in the world, but I could pass it. What you have is you have males who cannot pass their PT test. And they're like, well, the only way that I'm going to be able to get away with passing a PT test is if I identify as a woman, and that way I don't have to do as much. See where I'm going? And they allowed this. But what also they allowed, they had to create an entire new environment for all of these trans things. Their own separate little area. Yeah. Because you couldn't have the males and the females in the same showers. That's a battle in itself, because no. If you are biological male, you will live with the males. Now, you want to dress like a woman, you can deal with the scrutiny of what you're dealing with in there. What they had to do was they basically had to put out a class. And this class, Holy Mother of God, me and that nefarious ex we laughed so fucking hard. It was probably the best day of our lives. The best day of our relationship was that day. And I sat there while he took this class for the reserves. They were doing it remotely because there was another unit in there occupying their training element in the labs and the computer area that they work with. Anywho, we sat there, and I sat there listening in on this thing, and it took everything in our fucking power to not bust out laughing, heads kicked back, catching flies, cracking the fuck up because of the crap that was being said in this round table of people in his unit. It was ridiculous. So I'm speaking from a veteran's point of view, having actually experienced some of this twisted fucking delusional derangement firsthand. That conversation regarding the DEI crap in the military. And I think that is where it inspired and or triggered President Trump to finally say, okay, enough is enough. Because I honestly, from my perspective, being out of the service and having to literally see pictures online of this crazy kooky shit. This guy's wearing the female uniform and he is obviously a fucking male. What the hell? Have they cut his junk off? Then he ain't a female. He's just playing a fucking game so he can pass a PT test. Homosexuality is allowed in the military. You can have married homosexual couples. That is where I pretty much draw the line. This DEI stuff, that's a cop-out. Me personally, what I think. And the way it appears, yeah, we're a shit show. Our military, it looks fucking ridiculous right now. It's embarrassing. So I'm glad President Trump put his foot down and said, no, we will not have this in the military. And we need to stop the insanity. There's no race involved in this thing. There's nothing to do with race at all. Racism or discrimination of race and all that crazy shit, that shit has been gone for a long fucking time. Nobody fucking cares. It is the administrations that started to implant all of this malarkey into people's heads, making them think that it was a problem. It's not a fucking problem. Candace Owens will be like, it ain't a problem. The problem is where you have, she's a Republican, by the way. Problem is when you have Democrats using it as leverage. Like, well, we need, all of these, racial blah, 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 blah. And she lived in Black America. So she fights them every step of the way. It's like, you are putting a label on something that doesn't fucking exist. To try to gain momentum of some sociological, upheaval. I get it. I side with Candace on this. These people are whacked when it comes to that. Now, the DEI thing has absolutely nothing to do with race. Basically, all it was doing was, you can't discriminate. And what it was doing, and because all these woke fucking DEI, like transgender psychopaths that are walking around who can't accept the fact of who the fuck they are, so they're trying to just place themselves somewhere. If a company thinks that this type of person is going to be bad for their image and they don't qualify as well as this black guy qualifies, they're going to choose the black guy over the fucking, whatever. But then that little woke whatever is going to go ballistic. I'm going to file a lawsuit of discrimination, yada yada, and waste fucking people's money and time. So they hire them. And then they fire them. And then they have to deal with it again. The same fucking threat. You fired me because I'm this. And they have no leg to stand on other than the fact that the person was fucking incompetent and not qualified for the job. Which they should have never hired them. There's nothing to do with the fact that they look like a tropical fish and they don't know what sex they are. They're going to call themselves a pronoun thinking it gives them a leg up. It's ridiculous. And those of us who are not TDS and delusional and brainwashed and, totally mind wiped by all of the sociological fucking implanting of crazy shit because of the region that we live in, we're the ones seeing it from the outside, and it has absolutely nothing to do with who we fucking supported as far as being a president. There's a lot of people who voted for Trump and don't even fucking like him. And the only reason they voted for him is because he speaks sense. And this DIA situation is nonsense. Absolute fucking nonsense. We have a cultural cyclone, actually. I thought it was twisted minds. No, these motherfuckers are rotating cyclones. I remember when I was young and I was weird. Still weird. But toned it down a little bit. The only thing weird on me is my hair. And I would get so upset because I couldn't get a job. Well, during that time frame, yeah, the reason I couldn't get a job was because I looked like a fucking weirdo. And I would probably put forth a bad image. There used to be a time when tattoos were frowned upon. Now everybody's got them. There was a time when the military didn't want you to have tattoos. I come back into the military and everybody's loaded with sleeves and fucking full leg tattoos. Times change. People evolve. Social acceptances evolve. There's no need to force it down people's throat. Now, the other two videos, I talk about the influence of education systems and people who are supposed to be like mentor and authority are like brainwashing little children and destroying their innocence. Yes, that shit needs to stop. Trump's right about that too. You either can look the part and look the part right, like Lady Chablis and like Tula had to go through this. Caitlyn Jenner had to go through it. Transition without having done the surgery and live like the gender they wanted to transition into for an extended period of time in order to really grasp it and see, do you really want to be this? Because sociologically, yes, women do get treated different. Yes, we do. And there are some people who transition really well and they are beautiful. And there are other people that they transition and they should have just stayed their own gender because they're an ugly fucking female. Or you are a very effeminate man and you did absolutely nothing but destroy your body. It's got a lot of layers. Lot of layers. But predominantly, it's the bathroom bullshit, and it's the brainwashing and psychologically fucking with children, and the military cuckookery that really made the decision. Now, there are certain, corporate and executive type of, arrangements where these employers have hired the weirdo over the equally or better qualified because they didn't want to face a fucking lawsuit of discrimination. We got that shit too. That's what it created. It's not an acceptance. We didn't give a shit about them to begin with. Do your thing. You do you, boo-boo. I'm not going to be nasty and rude and, shit all over you because you're weird. I was weird once. I grew out of it. Sort of. Don't judge. I ride motorcycles. If you've ever had long hair and on a motorcycle, you go to brush your hair out, yeah, it'd take you 10 years to do it. No, we ain't doing that every time I ride. And, yeah, I looked like shit in short hair, so that is not even a fucking option. This was the option. Lock it up. Carry on. I think it's ridiculous that everybody wants to just point fingers at Trump. He's the bad guy. No. He has very legitimate reasons for what he did, for doing what he did. Because it's gotten way out of fucking control. Like them wanting the government to pay for all these fucking sex changes. Mothers. Oh, this whack job mother who was on Dr. Oz, who changed the sex of her kid before the kid was old enough to even have a decision. Turned her little boy into a little girl, I think. And then, now she's going to have a lesbian. If the kid becomes an adult and, grows up and This what used to be a little boy is now would be attracted to women if he had been a little boy and straight, is now a female with the mentality of being attracted to women. How does that help that kid? Now they have to go through society knowing that they're different. There's a lot of people, their parents didn't give them a sex change. They just grew up and they realized, you know what? I have a cousin who went into the, lesbian community because she was abused by her husband and she does not trust men anymore. I didn't go into the lesbian community because I don't trust men anymore. I just prefer to stay single. There's difference. There's men who are. And I absolutely adore them. I've known plenty of gay men over the years, and they're just beautiful people. They're delightful. But they're not running out trying to chop their shit off and wearing dresses. They know they're males. They know they have a sexual interest, and what you do behind closed doors is your business. Putting it out on, broadcast news and all of this crazy acceptance stuff, they were already accepted. Why are you shoving it down little kids' throats, ruining their innocence with it? Why are you allowing this little wimpy motherfucker in the military to start saying, I'm a female, so he can pass the fucking PT test because he's a wimp? Or he's fat and he can't do it on the male standards. Let's be a girl. You might have a better chance. I can go on all day about the discrepancies within that whole law crap. And I agree with Trump. Now, my sister's insinuation is going to start a civil war. Yeah, I know I got a lot of pew-pews. Take the first shot. Make your move, hooker. Yeah, you ain't going to be coming through this state with that kind of attitude. You're going to cause a fucking civil war. If anything, the TDS, they're going to cause a revolution. And it is not going to go in their favor.